joining me today from the National Bank of Canada to have this discussion. Could you just introduce yourselves?
Good day, everyone. So my name is Valentin Guerlesquin. This is the correct pronunciation, Ryan, but try it next time. I'm head of performance testing, automated testing, and test data management here at National Bank of Canada. We live in Montreal. So my job is to have, I have 3 teams which provide services to other group here at National Bank in IT to do, as I said, performance testing and test automation and things like that, and test data management. And we have here Henri, with the head of one of those group, those testing group in different projects. I guess, Henri, you can introduce yourself now.
Yes, hello everybody, Henri Bigot. So yes, I'm working for National Bank since 3 years now, and I'm a QA lead in a big project. It's an international payment project where I'm working on. And I have a team of 10 to 12 amazing SDET. So yes, I guess it's at me.
And we will try to speak English for you, Ryan, today.
I appreciate that. It looks like Jeff's trying to chime in too, so I appreciate any help I can get. All right, so I think maybe the first question to ask is Valentin, my understanding is kind of looking at your background and kind of understanding where you come from. You've worked in a lot of different industries. You've worked in telecom, pharmaceuticals, a bunch of different places like utilities. Now you're in finance. What are the key characteristics that you see pertaining to the test industry from your experience?
Okay, so something which is quite obvious, but in finance and in bank industry, we do have cash. Okay, so it could be something very interesting, but it's kind of problem sometimes. You know, we have the power of cash, so we are not struggling because of bad practice we might have. Because, you know, any bad practice we could have, it has an incidence on the cost of everything. But since we do have a lot of cash, you know, sometimes it's not a big problem. I mean, we do have a lot of cash compared to all the industries I might have been. For instance, telecom, you know, competitors are very present, so you have to optimize everything. This is probably, you know, if you compare it to a car, if you have a lot of gas and you have a lot of money, you probably don't care about how much your car consumption is, okay? So you don't have to optimize yourself, it's not a problem. It's probably something very specific to finance, but I think it's something we see in testing in finance from my point of view.
So are you saying that you're not really optimizing things yet?
So no, we are in fact, for sure. But, you know, I mean, it is very easy for any vendors to try to sell us a lot of things, you know, and just say the product will do everything, okay? So we used to be one of those classical financial company, but we are not anymore. Since many years now, we had good visionaries in IT at the National Bank of Canada, and we did introduce some big changes in the way we do IT. If we talk about testing, because we are here to talk about testing, right? Something like 4 years ago, when I came back to the bank, so I'm here at the bank since 4 years. 4 years ago, automated testing was more than a concept, an idea than anything else here at the bank. The mission I had with my team was clearly from my boss at this time was to make automated testing a reality at the bank. It was the mission we had. And when we started, we had, you know, it was kind of concept, okay? So we had something like 100 test execution a month across the National Bank 4 years ago. Automated tests, I mean, okay? And today, what I see, for instance, in our Source Lab console every month is we have today more than 130,000 tests run a month, only on UI, because through Source Lab, we only do UI testing. And it's probably the double of that for non-UI testing. I mean, REST API and things like this. So we are changing and optimizing things now, for sure.
That's an amazing accomplishment. I mean, you're talking about a significant cultural change over 4 years. There's a lot of moving parts that go into that. A lot of things that have to be adjusted. How'd you do it across the entire bank?
Okay. First thing is, it's not my team who did the test. Okay. At the beginning, when I joined the bank, I joined that team. My team was in charge of doing test automation. So it was, a centralized team, and we had to do as a transversal team the automated test for everyone. And usually it was done, after the fact. The product already has been tested, almost in production, and the testers just came with, a list of tests that should be automated and request us to automate this. Definitely, it wasn't a good thing. So the first thing we did was to say, automated tests have to be written directly by the project team itself, not by another team like mine, not external team.
And that was a big change at the bank when you did that, because you have to know, I am part of a project team. So the way that we are doing tests before was exactly like that. Manual testers doing manual tests, and when it is done, we try to identify which test can be or should be automated. And it was not really working. So we decided to do a very big change and say, okay, start from now, we should write only automated tests and not wait for manual tests to be done.
And so, again, for changing it from a central services group to more of the project-based team is a challenge, right? There's a lot of things that go into it. Were you able to do it?
At the beginning, not really. It was kind of hard. Each sprint, we were able to strip like 5 to 10% of what we wanted to test. But we begin with a group of motivated manual QAs plus a developer who never did automation tests before. So it was not so easy, but time after time and sprint after sprint, we were able to increase that number. And now I would say that we are around 80 to 90% of what we want to test each sprint.
That's outstanding. But it does point to an interesting little thing there. You're a project team, and theoretically there's a whole bunch of different project teams that are in similar shape to you. Valentin, it sounds like you're out of a job.
Yes, so that's something I said. My job is to make me useless. Okay, so this is the idea. But in fact,
make you nothing.
Yes, we're almost there, but we're still useful for some people. The service model we have set up is that my team is in charge and responsible of our test framework at large. So it means we are responsible of providing for the whole bank a testing framework that enable almost any kind of testing. Almost. So for the vast majority of teams here at the bank. So we have a test framework which is based on Java JUnit. We are using Selenium for web browser testing. Of course, we are using SourceLab as our Selenium grid provider. We are using REST Assure for API testing. We have built some modules for testing ETLs, database. We have a reporting module, etc., etc. We're using visual testing. And the idea is project, you do your work. It means you script your test, and my team, we provide you all the tools you might need to do that. And all that tools should be integrated. I don't want any project, at the bank to do some R&D to discover what is the best framework today to do whatever things. We want to provide, almost built-in solution out of the box, usable at the bank, and connected to every CI/CD we have, because we want to save time.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you here, Valentin, but I just want to underline that because it has a lot of value for us. In fact, when we started, we directly start with the framework that the Valentin's team provide us, and it gives us exactly what we wanted to have. I mean, so obviously a framework, but a clear and structured way to write automated test case. Because when you are new in that domain, it helps a lot to start. Because we are clearly not an R&D team. We have to deliver first the quality in the project based on all the stories. So we don't have a lot of time to spend by creating our own framework. So it's why what your team did, Valentin, was so great for us.
I totally get that, because it's whenever you're learning something new, there's a challenge there. You're not only breaking what you've done in the past, but you're trying to innovate and do something interesting and new about that. And so much about what you're trying to accomplish plays a part in that. Like not losing sight of that vision about what it is you're trying to test and what it is you're trying to accomplish. So given that you're new, talk to me a little bit about what things fed into that. What were you trying to accomplish? What was the context behind this overall project?
Okay, so for the context, so you have to know that my team and I are part of a bigger one, and we are in charge to deploy a new payment system at the bank. So we starting like 18 months ago by trying to do our automated test case, but it was not really easy. And we were a group of 8 testers without any experience in automation. So yes, it was not easy to start.
New skills.
Yes.
A new team, basically.
Exactly.
A new system that you're trying to work with.
Exactly.
Lots of reliance on trusting people to help you with that. How'd you start?
Well, it's a very good question. So in fact, we decided to start it like an event. So at the beginning, in my team, no one had touched to several tools like Git, Bitbucket. They have nothing in their laptop, so we really had to start from somewhere. So we create an event. We organize something that we call a hackathon. And during a full test group, during a full day, my test group was off the project floor. So we took a corporate space, and with the assistance of Valentin's team, we did everything from scratch. We installed Java, Maven, some credential. We tried to understand what is Git and Bitbucket. We decide to bring the DevOps pipeline in everything. So it was a very good day. And the objective for that day was, at the end of the day, everyone should have written at least one first simple test using the bank test framework. And we achieved that goal. But it was kind of an announcement for the whole team. We said to them that starting from now, we are doing test automation. We are not doing only manual test. We move to the test automation path.
So that's a rallying cry. That without a doubt, getting behind that, building momentum on that is critical for that success. Was it just you guys, or was it a broader team that was included in that? Were there developers or product owners? Like, who all was involved in that kind of stuff?
So when we did the event, we asked some developers, DevOps expert to join us in order to help us to create the pipeline. We asked at Valentin's group to join us in order to control the framework, because we didn't really know what the framework can do, what was the possibilities of that framework, so it helped us a lot. our developer was there also to help to improve the technical skills of the manual QA team. But more than that, I will say that after that event, we decide to bring to be able to tell at the rest of the team that we are here. So to do so, we join the product review and we present our achievements. Because before in many projects, the QA team didn't share that progress or achievement. So we decided to change that, and we forced ourselves in the product reviews, and we show during that product review, we show our test automation script, we show trends, test results, everything that we did, but was not really something that everybody was used to see finally. So really try to bring that new part in the project. So it helped us a lot to make it real in the mind of everybody in the project. And it also gives us power for our requests and needs. Because when you start, you have a lot of requests and needs after that.
So you brought the entire team together, which is great. It's not just all on your shoulders. You're thinking of it as an entire organization, and you're all in. And when you do that, you have the ability to collaborate, like you're talking about, and figure out where we need to go next. What are the next things we have to think about, bring into it, the requests and needs that you're talking about. Can you give us some examples of maybe how that worked?
Yes, I have one which is quite interesting or funny. As we were a beginner, we decided to create something that we call the Automation Friday. So we asked to have all of Friday free, but not free stay at home, but free of meetings. So don't have any project meetings during that day in order to be able to improve our skills. So it's not easy for the management to accept that your whole QA team will not be able for one day during a week. But it was something that that Automation Friday bring a lot to our team. So they stuck together, they improve their skills, they challenge themselves. So it was very important for us. And because they saw the value of what we were doing, it was easy for them to accept the fact that we are not available on Friday.
Henri, regarding this Automation Friday and the fact your team was improving, itself and its skills, maybe you can say a word about celebrating success and how we gave feedback to your team.
Yes, you say that because you're a little bit involved on that, Valentin.
A bit.
But yes, indeed. In fact, as we were all new, we had to work a lot. We had to work a lot in those new skills that we didn't have, like learn Java, etc. And all the team did it very well, and it's a fantastic behavior, and we really love to see that. And one of our team members really worked hard. She worked during the vacation, during her weekend, all the time, only to improve her Java skills. And it was very beautiful to see that.
Yeah, I'm just checking if she is here. She's not, apparently. She did not join the conference. But if she heard you,
She's training up.
Yeah, she will be. She will know that we were talking about her. But basically, we gave an award, which is just positive feedback, saying okay, it's celebrating your engagement and your results, your personal engagement and training you do. I think she was very proud of that, and I also think the team of Henri's team was proud of her also. So it's something we like to see, a personal engagement and self-training to just to get rid of your old manual habits and to be a new software tester and automation tester.
And she's very proud of that award.
Yeah,
Thank you, Valentin.
She absolutely should be. I mean, the minute anybody goes on a journey of self-learning, I mean, what you're talking about is inspiration, right? They've seen the promise of a new land, a place to go that makes things better, and they want part of that. And becoming part of that journey not only satisfies their own skills, but it actually shows a sign to everybody else that it's possible, and it's an agent of culture change. And in my experience, when I've seen that in the past, most of the times it's almost a sign where it's becoming a living entity and becoming its own thing. So Valentin, I guess a question for you is, how involved are you still with that? I mean, if that's now its own self-governing thing, self-learning, is your team still involved in training?
Yes, but it's not because your children know how to read that they will be able to teach themselves everything. So that's a good start. And yes, we it's probably a sign, self-teaching, self-learning. It's probably a sign that the kind of help we can bring is something different. For Henri's group, we started by first training them, as he said. So we trained them on the framework. I had someone from my team. She was full-time with them for several months. She was there to coach them, to teach them how to do part of Java, because they were starting on Java, how to manage conflicts on Bitbucket, because when you never use source control management, it's quite tricky when you have your first conflict, when you want to commit something, things like that. So it's part of our job to in my team to provide the tooling, but also the coaching. Today, if we have a look on Henri's group, the kind of coaching we provide is not exactly the same. We help them to recruit new members, so to do screening and job interviews. For instance, my team and my personal advice is to Henri also concerns the kind of profile he needs. For instance, when my team member left his team, he thought he needed someone exactly the same to replace her, which was not the case, because she was there to coach them at the beginning, but now they are not anymore at the beginning. So they needed someone else, and Henri by himself was not able to figure out that the kind of profile he needed was different now. So this is a kind of advice we give, and for sure they are learning by themselves and doing self-teaching, self-learning, but they still need some coaching on many things. The good thing also is to give them advice on what would be their next challenge, for instance.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to talk to there for a second is, like I said before at the beginning of this event, I've got a family. I've got 3 children as well. Well, I can't really call them children anymore. They're mostly grown. But, whenever they get excited about something, they get super focused and they're thinking about what they're learning. And like my youngest daughter right now is really into drawing. So everything, like she shares an account with me. So I wake up in the morning, look at my phone, and I've got a bunch of pictures that I've never seen before that she drew. And so like I see she's super active and she's really interested. But that also means that she's, to some degree, myopically focused on that skill set. She's really, really honing in on developing that. And so like, I think what you're talking about is taking a step back and looking at the strategy behind it and what the next steps are, where the next challenges are going to be for that group. So as they start to master that skill set, they'll know where to go next. So how do you know? Like, I mean, your team is responsible for that. How do you guide them?
So it's probably the same with your children, Ryan. You know it because you've been through. You are probably an adult now, Ryan. Probably. And so you know what your children is discovering and how enthusiastic they might be. That's exactly the same kind of idea with Henri's team. So they were very involved, very interested in many things at the beginning, and they are still. But they weren't able to step back as an adult. So since we do have quite an experience about test automation in my group, we are able to know what they will see today and what they will focus on, but what they should take care of because in the next day or next months they will have as a problem. So this is, this is probably why I think we are relevant. We did it many times. We know what are, good and bad ideas. We basically most know the bad ideas because we failed many times for sure. And overall, and you did the same probably when you were a teenager, for instance, Ryan. We failed a lot, and this is probably why our advice are relevant to our children. But sometimes they don't listen to us. But anyway, we try to provide the correct advice at the right time. So exactly what our purpose. We try to be guides, to be coaches, and to provide, the right advice at the right time. A good things to know where they are. We don't judge their ages and what kind of things they do. We have a look on metrics and the kind of metrics they have. If you have a look on their metrics of a group, you can see how far they are in their maturity of testing. So if you don't mind, I'll tell you a bit about those metrics. Basically, the metrics we're looking at are number of test execution per months, for instance. You take it per months or per last 30 days, and the pass rate. Those two are very important. So what I say is, the project is still a baby until they do at least 2,000 tests a month, or 2,000 tests for the 30 past days. So 2,000 test execution a month, and with at least 65% pass rate. Below those numbers, I consider a project as babies. Let's say they haven't started. Later, they grow up and they become teenagers. So when they are teenagers, you see this amount of test execution per month, which is more than 2,000, which is good. And what you want to see, because they are learning what you have to do when you are doing test automation, is the pass rate should increase. If they don't, you will see it going down because the maintenance is complicated, is not easy, and it's because they are not doing the right thing. So this is where we need to help them to get less flaky tests. A key element to get less flaky tests is to focus on test duration, for instance. So the runtime of a test, it should be not that long. A test which is too long means you are testing too many things at the same time. So it's not easy to debug when you have problem and things like this. So it leads you to bad pass rate and things like this. So what I say is, it's exactly when they are teenagers, we have to focus on that with them. And this is exactly what we did. I think it's a year ago with Henri's team. And later, when they are not teenager anymore, they become adults, we try to introduce the idea of test isolation. So doing testing on mocked environments. And doing that, using stubs, mocking, it helps a lot to have stable and relevant tests. Henri, you wanted to interrupt me again?
Yeah, but it's a question for you, Valentin. For you, is my team is still a teenager because we are using a lot of mock now.
So you will always be my baby, Henri. Yeah. So you're not a teenager anymore. Let's say you are young adults. You're quite far in maturity, in testing maturity. But let's have a look on mock or stubs. What I call application isolation. I'll try to be short on this, but my point is one of the biggest problems you will have doing testing, and it's so true in test automation, is teams are doing end-to-end testing, and many people are saying their biggest problem is test data. But from my point of view, and my point in short is, the real problem is because you are doing end-to-end testing. You are syncing your test and you are doing your test in an end-to-end perspective. Doing that, having your environment up and running and your test data appropriate to what you want to do is really difficult. So, the test data management is only the top of the iceberg on your problem. So what we suggest and what Henri's team is starting to do is to isolate the test environment, to remove any dependencies from other applications. So you replace the dependency by using stubs or mocks, however you call it. And by doing so, you're giving control to your testers, to their test environment and test data. So it helps your testers to focus on what really matters, testing what you want to test, not to struggle with external dependencies. Achieving this requires a high maturity of your testing practice, and your team, Henri, is getting there slightly. You're almost adults.
Hey, you're one step ahead of me. I'm still a kid. So on that, it's clear, Valentin, that your team is without a doubt supporting the group there from the bank. You've got the tools, you've got various different coaching, you've got the foresight to look beyond the here and now, to be thoughtful around there. But those teams, again, part of that process is to educate them and enable them to explore things on their own and kind of try things. So why not just turn over to them the ability to make those changes themselves? Like, why are you still involved in that case?
So at the beginning, so as I said, the mission of my team to write was to write the test for the World Bank. This wasn't relevant at all, for sure. But so this is, we did the change by changing our mission. Okay, our mission is quite different today, for sure. And
yes, and maybe I can add that at the bank there is a lot of legacy system, and culture was more like a waterfall project culture. So that was in the past, because today we have more and more agile project. Of course, obviously, it's a trend. Everybody goes to the squad, multidisciplinary squad, etc. But we still need help to change. And what the Valentin's group bring to a project, it's a fresh air of transformation, It's bring like a startup mindset in order to structure a way to doing test. And I guess it's something that a transversal team is able to do more than a team who is deeply in the project. So it was very helpful to have that group, and it was so nice to work with them in this direction.
You're talking about culture change. I mean, you're talking about not just enabling skills and tools, but changing mindset, changing the way people think about a problem. So I get that it's hard to do both solve the problem and be mindful of how you solve the problem and the strategies around that. It's a great thing to accomplish. If we were to take a step back and kind of summarize all the things we talked about here for a little bit, what do you think the key milestones are in bringing automation to a team that is used to doing things manually? Okay.
I guess for me, there is 4 key milestones. The first one, which is very important, it's having the management support and engagement. Without that, it's more complicated to have that starter period, the beginning where you are not so good, but you have to start, and you begin late because of you are not able to test everything. So the management has to understand that ramp up phase that your team has to have. So that is a very important point. The second important point, it's organize event at the beginning in order to let them know at everybody that, okay, we are doing it. It's not someone somewhere which is doing the automation test. It's everybody is doing the automation test. So, because when I say everybody, the BA has to provide some stories who can be tackled properly. The architect has to plan and design something that will be that we will be able to test with mock and everything. So that is important to organize an event like a kickoff of, okay, let's go, we are doing automation. The third point is having mock. Having mock seems to be okay, you have mock now, but it changed a lot. It changed the end-to-end mindset test to the isolate mindset test. And when you are doing automation test, it's so important to isolate your applications. And to do so, you need to have stub, mocks, or whatever, as said Valentin previously, whatever you want to call it, but isolate your application by having mock. And finally, it's having a transversal team like Valentin's team who can conduct the transformation with us.
Without a doubt, having support is key to all this. We've got about roughly around 5 minutes left. If it's okay with the two of you, what I'd like to do is kind of take a little bit of a shift and see if the audience has any questions.
Yes, please.
And to that point, we do actually have one in the chat. I'll just go ahead and read it out loud, and I'll butcher the French again, just so you know. So there were 2 points. One person said, I love the strategies explained here. A lot of ideas I can reuse. Thanks a lot. And then someone else came in and said, +1, this is very helpful. Merci beaucoup. See, told you I butchered. I'm curious how quickly the manual testers were able to up-level. How long before they became more productive, or how long this shift really took to feel like it was working?
Okay, I can go on that one if you want, Valentin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I will say that just to give you a context, at the beginning, when I had that team, I decided to have one pod who will be in charge to do the manual test, because there is always manual test. We cannot automate everything, and another pod who will be in charge to do the automation test. We did that during 2 weeks, and after that, everybody wanted to do the automation, wanted to be part of the automation pod. Why I say that? It's because they really wanted to change. So they are very motivated to go to the automation part. That said, if you want some timeline, we begin in February. It was kind of difficult. And in June, we were able to, of the same year, of course, we were able to have a good pass rate, like we were close to 70% of test coverage for one sprint. So I will say you that in 4 sprints, with the good help of Valentin's team, of course, this wonderful transversal team, you can achieve that in 4 months. But be careful, they are still not so strong in technical skills. It will go months after months and after months. But it's
maybe I can add something. So something we see is very. It's, let's say, 3 months. 3 months is a good reference. If you're starting with people who usually do QA, manual QA, and you want to move them to go through test automation. So if they are interested, motivated, they want to learn, and they do their work, their homework, in 3 months, plus, coaching and any support you should have also by the management and things like this, in 3 months, you will probably reach what I call the baby step. So it means 2,000 execution amounts and 65% of pass rate. Of course, you will have some people who doesn't want to or cannot, go through this and become test automators. You have to deal with that. And something I said to Henri, it was, okay, you think you need 4 people, hire 8 people. And in those 8 people, you will probably have I don't know, some people just saying, I cannot do that. Okay, fine. And some others, who doesn't fit your needs because for any reason. But the worst situation would be all of these 8 people you hired or you get from the existing people in your company. Maybe all of these will be able to do test automation. So you will be overstaffed. That's not a problem because in an organization like ours, you will find plenty of projects requiring people able to do test automation. So that's not a problem at all. So you have to think about this. 3 months is something you can achieve if you give support and tooling as you want. And you have to think about some of the people you want to change won't be able to go through it. That's okay, that happened, but you have to deal with that. So think having more people to do that.
I like
quick,
that one in particular. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yes, I just wanted to add that in that team, don't forget to have a developer with the QA in order to help them to improve their technical skills. It's a key element which is very important for doing that transformation.
It was in your situation for true. Yep.
Yeah. So 2 points then I wanted to kind of reiterate on that one was going back to, I think, Henri, what you said at the very, very beginning is that you kind of have to go all in. You have to bring everybody into it. You have to have not just testers. You have to have developers. You have to be mindful of who else needs to be there. So that's great. The other piece I was going to make, a point I was going to make there was, I love the idea of taking the attitude of building a bigger team than you might need. Like you said, the worst case scenario is you get 8 great people, and maybe that's too many people for your one team, but you're talking about culture change. And you're talking about spreading that across the organization. And maybe you only need 4, but now you've got 4 more agents that can go out in the organization and help you achieve that mission. It's a great strategy. I love it.
Exactly. We are not alone in our company, so for sure we can bring something to others.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you both so much. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I don't know if you're able to stay the rest of the session or not, but if you are, I would welcome the audience to continue to converse with you either in Slack or in Zoom chat. And if you're not able to, and the audience does ask questions, I'll be sure that we get those over to you so that you can connect with those folks as well. But this was a great talk. I had a lot of fun with it. I learned a lot. I learned that I still can't speak French, but I absolutely appreciate your time, and thanks a lot.
It was nice. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Henri.
Alrighty.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.